Hey team, welcome back to another episode of the Three Hamster Boys. I'm Alexander, joined by our father, Jeff, and my brother, Jeff's son, Nick.
Whoa.
You're both my sons?
Yeah, wow, we're both your sons. If you're new to this podcast, this is a podcast where we drink alcohol and, as our mother puts it, talk about random things.
Yeah, we like to not have a single thing.
And this episode is actually a conclusion for a 3-episode set.
Yeah, but not in any order or in like a series at all.
No.
We're just talking
Randomly when we do it.
Yeah, when the random item of today is Nick.
Hello.
Because he hasn't spoken enough. He's been really quiet.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah, Nick is a little too quiet. Before we get into the topic for today, before we start talking about you, Nick, do you want to talk about what we're drinking?
I would love to. So, we are, I think this is the first time we are doing wine.
Yep.
And only wine. We went to a vineyard near us called Horton Vineyards. Lovely little place. And we did I think a very exciting wine tasting, which once again was at least Xander and mine very first wine tasting.
Yeah, first like real wine tasting.
It's the first time we've gone since after COVID.
It's, well,
For me.
Yeah.
So for me. So before COVID, you would sit up at the bar, you'd have a glass, they'd refill your glass over and over again, and they'd be serving you that way. It was very different now because they put it into communion cups, as we were joking
do you
about.
not think that's just the
Wait,
vineyard?
that I just kind of figured that's how they did it. 'Cause,
No,
like, when I get a
that's-
flight, that's kind of like what happens.
That's brand new.
Wow.
So
Well, I don't know if this is necessarily a trend for all vineyards. Perhaps it was the place that we went to, but
But in any case, there were obviously we love to blind taste everything, especially on this episode. So we tried a bunch of wines and then kept 3 bottles to the side that we were like, we would like to try these here. Actually, the person who was helping us, we were like, hey, we do this kind of thing, and she was like, oh, you want the weird stuff? And here's my choices and ideas for it. So I
yeah,
thought that was exciting.
shout out to Sharon for doing that. She was awesome.
Yeah, shout
So-
outs. So this is going to be a little mini wine tasting, and obviously we're going to start with a white wine. This has aromas. I'm going to just be reading off the label, basically. Aromas of hazelnuts, guava. Sorry.
for those listening at home, Nick just did an obvious take at the back of the bottle just to make sure he remembered it properly.
Guava, vanilla, and acacia blossoms. So it should be refreshing. Are we going to make a statement that Sarah and I do not drink wine?
Yeah, we don't drink a lot of wine.
And I have drunk a lot of wine or different wines, and I've gone wine tasting in a lot of places. I actually toured southern part of France and went to a bunch of vineyards. I do not consider myself at all a knowing wine drinker. I drink what I like.
Yeah.
A sommelier?
Sommelier.
No, I'm not a sommelier.
Sommelier.
However you say that.
But in any case, this should be a lovely white wine with maybe a little bit of fun extra stuff based on the recommendation. And without further ado, I don't have too much else to say. Oh,
Yeah.
it's the Petit Mensing is the name. That
Petit Mensing.
was the name of it.
Yeah, I will say, if you've come here for us to be dissecting the flavors and the notes of the wine, I'm sorry. You're in the wrong place. I apologize. We're going to do what we do every episode, give you a little bit of a breakdown of what we're tasting, but we're by no means experts. We're just people who, for a hobby, like to drink alcohol, which I think is a pretty common American pastime at this point.
Yeah, it's true. Well, I would say anyone. Europeans are all about wine and whatnot.
Or beers,
Or beers, that's true.
or if you're in Portugal, you drink port.
You know what? That makes sense.
Yeah.
But talking about the wine, very lovely, I will say.
It is very lovely. You know what it reminds me of?
Grape juice.
No, it does not remind me of grape juice. But
No, wait.
the minerality of the water reminds me of the Albemarle Cider Works.
Oh, I didn't get that.
You know, I actually For once, I think I'm here with Dad.
That's okay.
At the very end, you just get this very refreshing mineral water taste at the end.
I didn't get that.
Huh? Wait, hold on. Maybe we're not in the same.
I didn't get
way.
that, but I appreciate your feedback.
Yeah.
Um,
It's very lovely.
it's very lovely. I don't think it's as dry as you would like.
No, but I think it's a very, very. It's got enough of a punch on it that it doesn't have to be overly dry.
A punch is such a aggressive way. I feel like that makes it sound a lot bolder.
No,
than
no,
it
no.
is.
I don't think it's bold at all. I think it's. I would say it's between a Chardonnay, which is really dry because it has that kind of taste or feel of a Chardonnay, but not as dry. I really do like it a lot.
It's very lovely. I'm a fan.
Yep. I mean, I think it's easy to drink and would be lovely with some cheese and fruit.
Yeah.
Do you get the what was it? Hazelnuts and nutmeg in here?
No, I don't. I don't get any of the fanciful stuff. My taste buds have
honey, toasted hazelnuts, Arcadia. You know what? Arcadia Blossom is probably why you are thinking about cider works, because a lot of the ciders that we had did have sort of that Arcadia touch of guava and vanilla. I'm not getting that.
This is when I go, my taste buds are not refined enough to search for such things, and I just enjoy the overall taste and experience of it all.
And I don't think the aroma gives me anything like that either. It's that's the other thing is you always want to try to sniff it, and because a lot of times when they describe it, it's the aroma that you're getting.
Do you have to swirl it to sniff
You
it?
should swirl it, yeah.
Okay.
It doesn't have legs.
No, well, it's a white.
Well, it's a wine. They don't normally have legs.
They would walk away then and not be
Yeah.
drunk.
Well, guess what? We can't walk away. We're drunk.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right,
Was
so-
this a gin episode?
Oh, I don't know. Whatever the last episode we did, was it the sidekicks? Or whenever we did the sidekicks one, I was also kind of feeling that one as well.
Yes. Oh, man. Oh, it was the liqueurs.
Yeah, it
one.
was
Yeah,
the
liqueurs
liqueurs.
one,
Yeah,
yeah.
That one was kind of boozy.
that was up there, by
Yeah.
the way.
All right.
I think the gin went crazy. The liqueurs was also a very one. Okay, as our father, as Jeff mentioned earlier in this episode, kind of alluding to, this is sort of a continuation of the backgrounds where we just talk about ourselves and like what we've done in the past. So we started with what I think we can kind of consider the most interesting, which is our father.
Yeah.
Just because you've got more
Years.
yeah, you've got more. You have more of a story to tell in not in its entirety because you're still telling your story, but
I hope not.
yeah, in the fact that you have a lot of years to. There's more of a build up into your story. Whereas I think for Nick and I, when we're talking about my story, we're talking about like my school and then some fun things that I've done on the side.
Which is typically like the school is like always a setup for like the
Right, it's-
Right.
bits.
It's really kind of the trampoline or the jumping point for
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
And so for Nick, I think we're going to do something very similar where it's talking about school, and, you know, he won't get to the point where he's become, 7 years in the Navy and has gotten out and is doing something totally different
It's
now.
true. Yeah.
Because he doesn't have that same sort of experience. For those of you at home wondering, Nick is the younger brother.
Oh. I don't know if we've ever established
We've
that.
never established that. But-
They are 2 years and 1 day apart.
Yeah, just in case that gives you a little bit of context. I think it doesn't really though, because our schooling trajectories were so
different.
Yeah,
Because you were in school longer, but I graduated first.
yeah, it's a kind of a weird way that things worked out. All right, well, let's begin. Nick, give us a little bit of an intro here.
Yes, so we've alluded to it, maybe not talked about it specifically, but I have a background and interest in all things theater and film and sort of being the talent of productions and those sort of things. And so I would say this all begins with just doing middle school plays and, just having the opportunity and sort of the time to let that simmer and really like set in stone.
No, not that I want to argue with you about this.
What's
What do you
happening
mean?
here?
However,
What do you mean argue? I've said only facts.
Immediately.
however, as your mother and I were cleaning stuff up, we found a piece of paper from your second grade recently that said, "What do you want to do when you grow up?" And you said, "I want to be an actor in second grade."
Okay, that's crazy.
Outed by the notes from second grade.
No, younger me betrayed me. Well, I think it was always on my horizon.
Well, do you know what your backup was?
Director or writer?
A
Spider-Man.
TV announcer.
Oh.
Whoa. I don't even remember that. Also, what does that mean specific? I gotta go interrogate younger me.
Yeah, look in the mirror. Anyways,
Yeah. After that, but having the ability to do middle school plays and doing that fun stuff, I definitely fell in love with it more. Unfortunately, due to just my conditions, I ended up being homeschooled basically throughout all of high school, and sort of missed an opportunity to be in more theater and productions and get experience that way. And then after that, I took an improv class at community college to try and just rekindle and just learn and, experience more of something that I wanted to pursue to some degree. And then this is where fate takes the wheel, and just coincidence after just weird sort of things happen. In 2019, my parents went to a funeral for a very close family friend. And while they were there, they met with someone who was very energetic about a small acting conservatory that they went to. And that same year, they introduced it to me. I applied. I went there, auditioned, and I got accepted.
it was. I think that. I think auditioned is not a strong enough word for what you did. You actually had to interview with Nan.
That
It was
is an audition.
an audition.
Well, I mean, because Nan really wanted to make sure that your heart and your mind were all in the same direction.
So the basically the whole overall point of this, I'm going to call it an audition because
Yeah.
that was basically what you were supposed to do.
Also, I feel like an audition is the actor's interview.
Yeah,
you know?
it is. Like naming, but I was given, it's like a 2-page script or something. You are to memorize it as best you can. You are to perform it in front of whoever is interviewing you. I had the school director interviewing me, which you're like, whoa, that's a lot, but there's not a lot of faculty to interview.
Yeah.
So, you're most likely seeing her. And the point of it was not only to show that you have taken it seriously and memorized your lines, can put on any decent, movement or whatnot. But the most important thing that she looks for is if you can take opinions and directions. Because if you are an actor who cannot be directed, you won't get far, is what I'll say.
Well, in this context, was that her being like, okay, now with a Gollum voice, and you were like, okay.
No, it was more freeform. It wasn't like you got to do this, you got to do this,
Okay.
because that's not how they teach. And they say that directors shouldn't do that as well. But it was basically like, hey, you should do this differently. I'm going to give you a variety of words, and you just Mad Libs those words as adjectives to the script you have.
Whoa.
So she had I think it was like a list of like 8 words. And then she was like, okay, you can hold your script now, because she's like, you've memorized it, but I'm giving you a lot of stuff now, so you can read off of it. And she was like, I'm going to separate these, and now I want you to portray these 8 words that I gave you, and see what you do with that.
Were they like SAT words? Like you got like lackadaisical, and you're like, how the heck do I implement this?
No, it was more like sort of words of pursuit, sort of actionable, like to tempt, to scare, to sort of those words that just add a little bit more layer for you to have a better direction on what you're saying.
Yeah.
And I think I could get this wrong, but the script was, I think you are Prometheus.
I think that that's right. Yeah.
That sounds familiar.
And I think it's Zeus comes to you, and you're basically, I acted it on the script where it was like, you are chained to a rock. But after that initial read, she said, what if you could move? And then, do this other stuff. So it was, I think it wasn't that long, but it was, I was paying attention the whole time, sort of how it was. And then after that, it was like very lax. She was like, yeah, I think you can, here's what I'm looking for. And yeah, I think you can thrive in this environment.
Well, I think that, so the part that, so me and his mom were not part of that audition part, but afterwards we were in the director's office and
You were part of the audition.
no, but we weren't there. But afterwards we went into the director's and she asked some very pointed questions from you.
Sure.
Because she wanted to make sure that you were not, it wasn't all fireworks and spectacular and big contracts and big movies. She wanted you to know that this is a grind of a job.
Yeah. It's a very practical school, and I'll probably talk about it in other, like later in this episode on exactly their expectations. I think the thing that really spoke to me during that little interview was how well do you take negative feedback? Mm-hmm. And I think my answer was, I only want negative feedback. Because if it's good, that means it doesn't need to be changed, so you shouldn't talk about it.
Don't talk to me.
Well, you hear this from your parents all the time, is that we always feel like we need more negative feedback from our jobs and what we do so that we can grow and get better at what we're doing.
Yeah.
Talking about yourself in the third person. It's crazy.
So you haven't mentioned the school.
Okay, yeah.
Nick, talk about the school.
So I got accepted afterward, and
wait, really quickly, did you walk out of the audition feeling like you crushed it, or was there kind of some doubt?
It was, I think I remember being like very like, I felt good, but like, I don't know how it went, sort of thing, where it was just like, I did, like, it was like, I did what you asked, but I don't know if that's what you wanted. Like,
that's what I think you asked.
Yeah. But yeah, are you saying, okay, so the name of the school, I think that's what you're talking about, is the National Conservatory of Dramatic Arts, which is a little tiny acting conservatory in Georgetown, Washington, D.C., under a Lutheran church, which is very funny. And it's very small, it's very modest, but they have really incredible people that work there and facilitate. And they have connections basically everywhere in DC, and they have a very incredible network.
And they're working industry pros.
That is the condition. To be a faculty or teacher, you have to be actively working in the scene,
whatever that may be. Whether because like Nan does a lot of the audition stuff, right?
Yeah, the school director runs one of the biggest non-equity auditions in Washington, D.C. So she's a mover and a shaker, and everyone else is.
What does non-equity mean in this context?
Okay, so non-equity, non-union members. So you're not part of a big actors guild like SAG-AFTRA or something.
Oh, okay.
Non-equity just means that you are not under anyone coverage or whatnot. You could have an agent, but it just means you're not under like a big banner or umbrella.
What are the disadvantages and advantages of being part of union?
Okay, so we're skipping to my third semester where we got to the business of it.
Sorry.
We could save that for later.
It is just, the advantages are you're on your own. You have very little obligations. You don't have any fees to take care of on top of that. And you aren't under strict contract rules. If you're equity or a union member, then there are fees that you must pay on a regular thing. You should, and then on top of that, you have to be working X or Y, and for both sides, you can get excluded or included in only non-equity or only equity acting groups or performances. There are theaters that specifically say you cannot work here if you're equity, and then there's other places that say you can only work here if you're equity, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's not what to be taken from this whole experience. It's just something that to be aware of if you ever pursue it.
Yeah.
Before we move to our next wine, I will just say for the more setting up part, because this is basically what the first part is for. Yeah. After I got accepted, it became we have 4 months, I think maybe 5, to find an apartment. And that is tough in Washington, D.C. to find an affordable one that is somewhat close to where I would have liked to go to school. And we searched for 3 months.
Yeah, it was something like 3 months. And the worst part is that it's a fairly big city.
It's a big city.
It's fairly spread out, and it doesn't have a lot of skyscrapers. It's a very flat city.
Yeah.
And so when we would go, we only have 6 more blocks to walk to it. I think the one day that was really the killer day is we walked 27,000 steps.
Yeah, we walked. We had multiple days where we would run around the city looking at different apartments and whatnot, and it would just end up being like, wow, we've walked through half the city trying to go to these different locations.
And we were really focused on an area probably within 1 or 2 miles or maybe 3 miles of the school.
We got pretty far on some of them.
Yeah, yes, we definitely walk. And the crazy thing about it is we're walking, we'll go, oh, look, there's the Israeli embassy. Oh, there's the German embassy. There's the Peru embassy. So all these embassies are all around there. And sometimes you'd be in some, like the German embassy was like in a residential area. It was on the corner there. And we just went by and went, oh, look, there's the German embassy.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, I walk past a few embassies like every single day.
Yeah, the Russian embassy was right down the street. So
it's true.
Did you find an apartment?
So yeah, that's the conclusion. We looked in a variety of places, and then we eventually landed on a lovely apartment in Arlington, specifically Roslyn.
You don't live there anymore. You don't need to.
I don't know. I was content with it. It was a nice studio apartment that did the job, and honestly, it was my first time living alone for a long period of time, and honestly, it was kind of great. I really liked it. The one thing that
his parents were terrified.
Well, they're the ones who picked the school, so. But it's crazy. It was kind of a reverse, you know. Like usually the kids are like, oh, I want to go here, I want to go here, I want to go here. They came to me and be like, hey, DC.
Hey, think about this school.
Yeah.
Well, we had to go back to that school decision. It was you were looking for something very specific.
Yeah.
You wanted basically an acting trade school, not something where you had to take all the other classes of college. Rather than a 4-year degree, you were looking for, in particular, a conservatory that just did acting.
Yes. Yeah. And that's what I got.
Yeah.
The one thing about my apartment that I did not like was there was no washer dryer in the studio, so I had to use the laundromat.
But
there was one in the build.
Yes.
On your floor.
I know, right? So still not ideal. I would have loved a in-unit. But anyway, I applied, got accepted, got an apartment, and then moved in on New Year's Eve.
Yeah, New Year's Eve. Yep.
Holy cow, I don't remember that at all.
Yep.
On New Year's Eve, and we were putting together a table and my bed from IKEA.
Shout out IKEA.
On New Year's Eve.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I actually do remember that now, yes.
Very, very funny. And I guess, we'll get into the thick of it the next part.
Well, my glass is empty. Dad, your glass is
Been empty.
not quite empty. Whoa. And Nick, your glass is empty.
I had to drink fast because I was talking.
No, I saw that. I was like, oh man, he's not going to finish this. And then the next time I turn around and it's gone. But our glasses are empty. Let's go get the next wine and continue the saga of Nick.
Whoa.
See you guys in a second.
Yep.
Oh my God, I just slapped the mic. And we're back. Hey team, welcome back. Sorry, I went into like sports announcer mode for a second there and we're back. The game hasn't gone too much further since you all left. Anyways, we have a much different looking drink in front of us here. This is a red. Why is it bubbly, Nick?
So this is Knots and Shuttles. Horton's very rare and very prideful sparkling red, which I mean I've never had one of those before.
I haven't either. Not one that's. Sometimes you'll get a blush champagne that's a little bit red, but that's about it. And also, this is chilled, which is not normal for red
That's
either.
true. But our Sharon,
Our Sharon.
our Sharon, the owner of Horton's.
Sharon highly recommended to drink this chilled. So listen to the boss's orders.
Yep.
And I'm very curious. There isn't anything dazzling itself about the wine, I don't believe. I think the very exciting part is that it's sparkling, and that should take over the experience for the most part. Yeah.
Let's give it a try.
I think without further ado.
Yeah, I don't think there's much else to say with this one. It's a unique technique here not technique, but unique in the fact that you don't really see a lot of sparkling reds, or as Dad liked to say, forced carbonated reds.
It is very different.
It's very odd.
Okay. Dad, why don't you speak on that? You're a big fan of sparkling stuff. You really like the champagne.
I do like the champagne, but usually champagne has a kind of a clean, kind of short taste when it hits the bubble. This has got that tannin of red that lingers on your tongue along with the bubbles.
Yeah, no, you're right. This is weird, but this is kind of our weird.
Yeah.
This is, I mean, it's unique for sure. Also, I didn't think I would get that thrown off by a cold red wine, but it kind of is.
Yeah.
It's just not something I'm used to really tackling.
Does it need to be cold is really what I'm thinking here.
I think it helps with the bubbles.
Yeah, I think carbonation is better.
I think it like you said, you're drinking a red and it's cold is just odd. But then it's already odd with the bubbles.
So it's just an odd drink on top of it. I kind of like it though. It's pretty good.
Sharon did a great recommendation here, something very different.
I liked it at first. I think the more that I sip it, the more I'm like, I wish this was not this. But I will say I'm not known to be a huge fan of reds. They kind of, my palate is certainly not used to them.
They are much heavier is not the right word, but they're a much they attach to your taste buds much heavier than a white would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean when we were wine tasting it, yeah, I mean like every time we drank a white, we'd be like, oh, lovely, on to the next. But basically every time we drank a red, we're like, all right, gotta wash our mouth for a second with some water.
Water it down a little bit.
Because it just sort of lingers on the tongue and it is very heavy.
Yeah.
Which is what it's meant to do. It's meant to if you eat it with something to be part of that taste profile and to enhance that taste profile. It's why when I cook meat for you guys, I'm usually throwing red wine in there because it kind of enhances whatever meat I'm making for you guys.
True.
Yeah.
Very, very, very interesting. I like it.
We're on to Act 2 here.
Yeah.
You've been accepted into the school.
Yep.
You have an apartment in D.C.
So true.
Doesn't have an in-room washer or dryer, but I feel like that's kind of normal for a city.
You're right. It was,
And remember, Act 2 is where the twist occurs.
no, this is when we just get the rising action.
Yeah,
everything's
where's the twist? What happens? Who betrays you?
we're getting into the character building.
No.
portion of the
You
story.
get a twist.
Oh, well, We're not there yet.
Okay.
Why you're rushing the story.
And this is called foreshadowing, folks.
We don't need to use storytelling terminology. You guys are spoiling the end.
Look, I didn't say anything. I don't even know what he's talking about here.
But anyway.
We're the three hags. We share one eye.
We are not sharing the same eye.
You've got a different vision. But I began my little career as a student at the National Conservatory of Dramatic Arts, and it's kicked off with improv class. That's the first thing you ever do when going to school, and it's very important. The whole core of the course is to think on your feet, trust your scene partners, and just get used to being on stage without having to memorize anything, without having to rely on cues or props or anything. You're just you out on a stage, and you're kind of just sending it for the most part.
And what I will say is that while you are going to school, there's a lot of other things you're doing for the first time, because you've never lived in an apartment by yourself.
Okay.
You never lived away from us.
You're like treating me like a baby.
No.
You did phrase it in either a very infantile or ominous way of
No.
this.
No, I would be. I cannot tell you how much we worried. You know,
Don't worry. I called you guys at like 9 p.m. on how to how to make a grilled cheese.
How do I make grilled cheese?
Yeah, I did that, and I burned the heck out of my bread either way.
But and then you had to take the decimator, the discipler.
Okay.
Oh my!
I don't know. Okay.
Let him cook.
DC Transit. That's like all it is. Okay. I don't know why he's like zhuzhing this up.
It's because it's a circulator and he can't remember that.
But the problem is, I'd already been to Germany, and I was already so used to public transit. It wasn't. All these pieces weren't new to me. I'd lived on a college diet since like middle school with peanut butter sandwiches, Pop-Tarts, and ramen and frozen pizzas. Like I already knew it down pat. Honestly, the left turn on there was they bought me salad. That was the scariest part of my diet.
I think the point that Dad is illustrating here is how much he worried about you and how much you were like, this is great.
Which is what it should have been. You should have been like, I'm free at last.
I don't know if I had that because, like, I don't know. It was just a weird experience, but I felt once like I got into like a weekend. Well, you and I lived there for a week after I moved in there,
true.
and we were just playing No Man's Sky and eating like pre-made salads.
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
And then we just like took like some walks around because like you came with me to sign my actual school papers.
Oh yeah, that's right.
To like get finalized completely. But yeah. Anyway,
we literally did just kind of hang out for a week. That's great. I really like that.
It was a good time. It was very chill. But I started with improv class, and that was very, very important. That was very fun. I had a huge class of 3 people. I had 2 other classmates, and it was honestly a blast. Like we made it work with 3 people, and for improv class, it was very good. We bounced off each other well. And at the same time, it was a sort of A-B day, how the classes worked. A days were improv, and then B days were script analysis, where it is exactly as it said. We are given a script, and we are just supposed to read it through, talk about it, and then just get into the rhythm and the mindset of really digesting and like understanding all the themes and characters and just building this like more expressive way on how to view art is basically how it is.
And you didn't look at a particular character. You were looking at all the characters and everything around the script.
It's funny you should say that. The script itself was called Doubt. And they made a movie about it a little bit ago. And it just has 3 main characters. It is...
Whoa, they like perfectly set it up for your class?
But it's always that script.
Oh, okay.
It is always that script. Because it is left open-ended, It is already a fairly heavy topic, and there is just so much nuance and character tells, and each character is so almost archetypal, but still so grounded. And it's a very intense movie. The theming is really tough. And once again, it's left on an open, so it's up for the reader's interpretation to decide. And that was basically the whole conversation most of the time when we were in class.
But you didn't look at a particular character. You looked at all of the characters? Or when you were doing a script analysis, were you looking at it as a producer or as a single actor?
Probably closer to, director. Where you're just understanding the script and really seeing how you want to take it, I would say. Because it's, as a director, you need to decide how, you need to put it into your mind on what your answers are.
Right.
So probably that. Obviously, we looked at a lot of like scenes because the script is filled with one-on-one interactions, which really clarify like dynamics.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, you look at characters. We talked about all of them, specifically as well.
When you did it, because you really were, it was three people that were new to kind of this industry or whatever.
Yeah.
When you did script analysis, was there a lot of, were there times where you went, I never saw it that way, or was it pretty clear how that interaction or how that interpretation was going to be?
I think it was just it didn't get so deep into it, but it was like it just sort of expanded my horizons just like slightly to start understanding where metaphors are used,
Right.
where specific actions or cues are like really have the significance of it. And I think that was the main point of it, to really understand why something is in a script, right? It's when you look at a film or a television show or a book even, you aren't seeing the whole script.
Right.
You are seeing what is given to you after it's been sort of digested and thrown into a palatable thing. The script is you're saying the whole, fish.
So I guess that's my next question. Are you also interpreting actions and interactions from a physical standpoint?
It depends. If it's written in the script, there's probably some significance, and you should honor it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not written, that is left to the artist or the director's job to fill in that. And that's where the play begins. That's the whole sort of, that's why it's called a play. It's play.
Yeah.
Whenever you're rehearsing, you get to play.
Right.
And I think that's always, every time a new instructor or faculty came in, they were like, all right, let's play, because you get to see how you work with a character. I think that's the joy of it as well, because you're like, I wonder how my character that I just got thrown at will work with this character who, I know the person, but they're playing a character now, and I'm going to see how we talk, we interact, we grow. And that was sort of a more nuance that came later, but that's the sort of basis. They start you off with improv to get you on your feet and used to acting, and script analysis to start understanding the work.
Right, because I think that... Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, because you were talking about there being like A-B days where like improv and then script writing on like different days.
Yeah.
How long were your days? Like,
Really not long.
Okay, I was like, are you sitting in a room for 5 hours reading over the script for Doubt?
You're close. It's 4 hours.
And then doing improv games like Freeze and Justify for 4 hours straight?
Kind of.
Ugh,
It is kind of like that. The school is made for working people. Mm-hmm. So, 4 hours. It's a highly condensed, concentrated of what you're getting. And these classes would go for 6 weeks, I think. Roughly 6 weeks. Maybe a little less. I'm in the mindset of like the advanced courses now, which were 6-week blocks. But for the most part, they were highly condensed. Like they gave you what you needed to know and the experience, and then they moved on because it was very fast. The course with the advanced courses is 2 years.
Yep.
You don't get summers off, but you just send it through.
6 semesters, basically.
Yeah. After that, we moved on to scene study.
Well, I think that one of the things that you talk about ABAB. That's 4 days of the week. What was the fifth day?
Fifth days, Fridays. Fridays are not optional, is the sort of chant that they would always say. It would be a seminar, and it would be anything. It would be watch a movie. We're bringing in a professional that focuses on this, and they're going to talk to you about it. We're bringing in this. We're running through this. We're talking about this. You know, it was a very open-ended experience that you didn't always know what was happening. There was a long-form version of it where it was, I think, 8 weeks of film classes, where every week you'd be building on how to do self-taping and just understanding more of film. Yes, so those were Fridays.
I think that was so. It allowed you to keep a foothold or a touch into the real world of acting with these Friday classes. That's how I always looked at them.
They were a little bit of a breakup for monotony, and as well as they were when the whole school was together as well. You would only interact, like in a school sense, with the other students when they're performing, when they're showing off their projects.
Right.
Which, scene study, that was not an AB day, from what I remember. That was it was only scene study.
Right.
And that was when it was our first time running through a script, getting assigned characters, getting assigned scenes, putting on those scenes, and then at the very end of that portion, performing it in front of the school. And you did that, halfway through your first semester or whatever. Unfortunately, this is the twist that he was alluding to that is always this, ever-present thing since in recent years. After I performed it, the very, next week, another school faculty was like, all right, well, everyone's getting sick. We had reports, of COVID down the street. Everyone go home. And that is where I would say the tumultuous time of my schooling truly began. COVID. It's a real thing. It was an awful experience for everyone going to school and everyone trying to figure out what the heck is happening and how long is it gonna be.
And it was extremely devastating for theaters and actors.
It's true. Basically, every theater had to shut down, close up, turtle, trying to figure out what can we do. And everyone was sent to the drawing board on what to do. I think I had, a week, 2 weeks. We started our spring break early to play around just everyone at school figuring out what the next steps are.
Because at that time, no one was sure how long it was going to... Oh, it's only going to be for 2 weeks or 4 weeks. So for your school, they were like, well, we can figure out 2 or 4 weeks.
Yeah. So they delayed it. We readjusted, figured stuff out. I moved back down here because there was just no point to being in my apartment for the most part.
So I work from home. So every day from 11 to 4, I would hear him saying or doing whatever he was doing for his classes.
Yeah. And it means that my experience for my first semester and slightly through my second semester was almost spoiled. Kind of spoiled. Basically spoiled. There was a infamous play that everyone from first semester does without fail. It's called the Bug Play. That's just what they call it. It's not actually called the Bug Play.
It's not actually called the Bug
I can't remember. I think it's like the World We Live In or something like that is the actual title. But it's such a fantastical play where each scene, all the actors are a collective of bugs and they are interacting with their spaces, and it's like, oh, we're the ants, and they're having a little ant scene, or there's a dung beetle scene. And I didn't get that. What I was assigned was the fourth semester project. I was working alongside senior students basically with their project. I was given a one-man show that I had to put on, which I was not ready for. I had to, it was like a 9-page monologue. Ooh. And I could not do it. I was like 3 days out from performance, and I was like, typing to my teacher, like, I can't do this. There's too much. I can't do this. And he was like, yeah, you're actually not supposed to. Like, that's understandable. I'm glad you reached out to me. You can cut this, cut this, cut this, cut this, cut this, and just like send it, because you're gonna do you, and it's gonna be awesome, and then you're gonna see the people who are at the end of their road in the school and see how they do it, you know. And that was really relieving, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I put that on, and that's how it was. And that was the end of my first semester. I did that one-man performance, and that was the end of the semester as a whole. The week after that, they said, these seminars, these Fridays, they're like, we're going to try and really outlast COVID. We're really going to try and beat them so we can get back to our regular curriculum. So they said, we're going to take everything we had planned for seminars and just push them into every single day of the week until we're out of seminars to use.
Holy cow.
So every single day was a brand new topic with a brand new speaker as well.
Wow.
And it was the whole class. It was the whole school sitting in these things. So it would be such a variety. It's like, okay, today we're watching Rent. Today we're watching Birdman.
But it was all on Zoom.
It was all on Zoom. Everything was digital. Yeah, everyone was getting used to Zoom. But it would be such a variety every time. It's like, today we're looking at character dynamics. And, you know, you'd have like info dump for 4.5 hours or something like that. And it's like, okay, now we're talking about Birdman. It's a oneer. We're going to talk about oneers. And now you get to and then we're going to talk about shots and like da-da-da. And it was this whole thing. I honestly don't remember a lot from those weeks because it was just every single day was something.
It's like too much information.
Too much
like
for
happening
me.
too quickly. Like it's a bit of whiplash. It sounds like moving from like one topic to the next.
You could never dwell or let anything really sit, and you can only just like, okay, I remember talking about that once or twice, sort of moments.
And the other part of this is that at the same time, you're supposed to be doing technical support volunteering at theaters.
No.
Not yet?
No.
Let him tell the story. You're getting there.
But after all of that, they finally realized, well, we can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
And some regulations were lifted, and we could meet with masks, 6 feet apart, temperature checks. And that's where my COVID studies began, which began with a little bit over Zoom, which was voice and movement, and script analysis 2. Voice and movement I did here for a while, and that's the one that Jeff remembers vividly, because I would be in my room and they would be like, okay, here's all the crazy like warm-ups you need to do. So I'd be like pounding, running around my room and da-da-da, and then they're like, oh, we're on to voice class, and I'd be like, doing a bunch of crazy stuff, and that was it. Thankfully, I think I only did that for 2 weeks or
I think
something like that, and then I moved back to DC to continue.
Yeah, the craziest thing about moving back to DC is that we did a couple trips back and forth because it'd be like, okay, I'm not going to do anything this weekend because 4th of July is up or whatever. And we would go up to DC and there were no cars on the highway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was just so strange to go up there and see DC traffic. The highways are always bumper to bumper. It's always busy. We would come up and down and it would just be nobody.
Yeah.
It was just the craziest thing.
Are you reliving COVID right now?
Yeah,
Going through it.
Yeah.
He's going through it again.
Well, I mean,
there were like no one outside. Like all the restaurants were closed.
Yeah. Before we get to the very last part, I will say I'll probably make the last part all about like the productions and performances that I put up.
Sure.
So I'll say for the rest of this, I just went through a lot of practical classes throughout my time there, alongside these performances and plays that I put up. So like they taught it in a very practical and business sense. So I did have, as I was saying, the business of acting, right? Like we went through talking about reading through contracts, talking about equity, non-equity. When should you get in? What's it like working on a set? Like very practical feeling with that. I had more script analysis, scene study. I went into those in depth as well.
Didn't you do the audition class too during this?
true.
Right.
Audition class is a very necessary thing, and that's a 2 to 3 parter. I think there's audition 1, 2, and a little bit of 3. And that is just I worked with a person who
A casting director, right?
yeah, a casting director, and he put us through. He had very high expectations. He's probably the most difficult teacher, but in the best way. He did not accept anything less than, and he said it very, very, blatantly on like, if you can do anything else, do that. Don't get into acting. But he was the toughest teacher, but he was also one of the biggest supporters. Because he, as a casting director, he said, I always want someone auditioning to succeed. Because that's what he's looking for. He wants someone to succeed.
Yeah.
And I had to memorize like 8 monologues.
I remember that.
They all had to be a minute long, and there was a time where he was like, all right, tonight you're going through all 8 of them back to back. Which that was really tough because he said that we were only doing 3.
Oh.
Well, but he had said from the very beginning, because I remember you saying this, is that you should always have 5 in your pockets.
You should always have 5 monologues available, and it should be serial drama, comedy, Shakespeare, a personal favorite, and then something weird.
Wow.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have those off the top anymore. I need,
Yeah.
I haven't auditioned like that in a while.
Yeah. Well, perhaps you'll have another chance in Act 3, but for now, we need another drink. We'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. And we're back for our third and final chapter in Nick's story. I feel like maybe there's more story to tell here, but we're running out of time.
Yeah. I'll just get through what I can.
Yeah, true.
But before then, we had a white, we had a red, and in proper wine tasting fashion, we're going to end with a dessert wine.
No, it should be random.
Well, it could be.
Just spin.
This is the About Face. It doesn't have a descriptor on it, but it was one of the ones that was recommended, so I'm expecting something interesting. You guys can talk, can taste. We had a variety of dessert wines, and I think I feel like we already had the strangest one when tasting, so I'm hoping that this one's even odder.
I think this is the pear one,
Okay.
because I get the taste of pears or maybe like peaches or nectarines.
Yeah, it is. It's light. It's refreshing. It is sweet, like a dessert wine. There's something in like the aftertaste.
Very interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know where to place it. There is something to it.
It's definitely not the white chocolate one.
That's the one I was sort of talking about. They had a white chocolate dessert wine, which was so not a wine and so sweet and overbearing.
No.
Whoa! It was not overbearing.
It literally tasted like a syrup shot. Like,
Yeah, it was a lot.
in wine form. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh.
I loved it.
Yeah,
I absolutely loved it.
you liked it. It was just coating your tongue in like.
I feel like, especially, it was at the very end of us tasting 17 other wines.
It's true.
And it was like a shell shock, culture shock overall. Was very different from what we had been drinking all day.
Very different, but it was, for me, I was thinking, and the woman that was helping us out there, not Sharon, but another person, was saying, this is really good. And I was thinking a flourless chocolate cake with this white chocolate wine would just be divine, but it would be so sweet.
I'm gonna be honest. A flourless chocolate cake with just this would be nice.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, we used to drink this, your mother and I used to get this pear port,
Yeah.
which was just delightful. And it reminds me a lot of this.
There's something on the end of my tongue. This for me has a very lingering taste at the end of it all, and I can't place it. I don't know what it is. It coats my tongue like a red, but not like a lot.
You know what it smells like? It smells like one of those like chocolate bonbon things.
Yeah,
like the
yeah.
inside of those. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, like
that's a good way of describing
the cherry,
it. Yeah.
the cherry scent, like a
Yeah.
chocolate covered cherry.
It's
with-
not cherry.
But it's not
cherry.
cherry.
But it's like it smells like the alcohol you would find in chocolate.
Right.
That's a good way of describing it.
I like it. It's tasty.
I mean, this was under the category of sweet and after dinner things because it was in the same category as the ports. So this could be something in between a really sweet wine and a port. So it's an after dinner thing that you would have to kind of clean your palate.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. When we left off, you were kind of going quickly through your classes, and you really wanted to make a point of talking about your projects.
Yeah.
What does that mean? What
So-
are we getting into here?
So, spread throughout all the semesters, there is a big play, sort of a monumental culmination of what you've learned that semester that you get to put on its feet and show the rest of the school privately. They do not do public performances until your very last semester. So they set it up, and I really admire them how they set it up. They set it up chronologically on when these types of theater performance was started. So in semester 1, the big sort of play was the bug play, which is sort of like modern, but also like really weird because it's bugs.
Bug.
And it's more of just like a very playful thing. But after that, we started going into sort of the roots of theater itself. And it was almost like a history lesson while going through school. So the very first thing that we were able to read and put a play of was a Greek. So Greek is one of the earliest, recorded for, performance and whatnot. And we did the classic Oedipus,
Right.
which, that's one of them.
That's a story to tell.
It was very fun. The only part that was not fun was we were masked in a big classroom 6 feet apart.
Yeah.
And that part, that's okay. It was honestly truer to Greek than normally. Because Greek, they wear these big masks that are never changing. But they're usually stuck in some kind of emotion or caricature. So it's okay. It's okay. It wasn't the worst. But after that, you obviously have to move to the classic Shakespeare. I did Macbeth. Once again, a very classic.
Whoa.
And I did it with some underclassmen, which was very, very fun.
Is that a normal thing that happens, like mixing of the classes?
It is usually if it's numbers or I was in a weird situation. I didn't mention this, but after COVID, unfortunately, one of my classmates actually dropped out in my class. So it was actually just me and my other remaining classmate. So it is not common, I believe.
Okay.
So I was plugged into the Greek with a different class.
Oh, okay.
And then for Macbeth, I was plugged into a different class as well.
Yeah.
And those were two different environments. Very fun. It was like the Greek, I was plugged in as an underclassman. And then for the Macbeth, I was plugged in as an upperclassman because I hadn't gotten my Shakespeare credit yet, basically.
Yeah, because it's hard to come up with two people Shakespeare plays.
Yeah. You could do it.
Yeah. I was about to say, I feel like you actually could do it.
You could do it.
Speed run Shakespeare with two people.
Yeah. Well, no, just do it. After that, I want to mention this because I think this was my favorite theater style that I was taught. It was something that was taught while I was in Voice and Movement 2. And I was introduced to an Indian theater style called Navarasa.
Okay.
And it stands for the 9 emotions.
I don't remember this.
Is super fascinating. It's the idea that every single space, whether it's theater or just your house, permeates these 9 emotions. And whenever you enter that space, you are just compelled to fulfill that emotion.
Oh. What are the 9 emotions? Do you remember?
So,
This is a test.
yeah, I know, right?
Yeah.
I believe it's wonder,
Okay.
joy,
Love that.
disgust,
Okay.
anger,
Okay.
fear.
Okay.
We're getting into the...
You got 4 left.
Ooh, that's tough.
Hey, you're
Sorrow?
over half though.
It is sorrow or sadness, one of those two.
How about hate?
No. That falls under disgust.
Okay.
What about whimsy? Now that we're just
That's
guessing.
probably wonder.
Wonder sort of falls into that.
Hunger?
No.
sloth, pride, wrathfulness.
Love is one.
Love. Okay.
Yeah, I can't remember.
So
Hey,
how
there's
does
no
it?
shame. You got you.
You
You're
did seven. So how does that? What does that mean when you're doing that?
So it was an interesting theater practice, and we didn't actually do a play with it, but it was just something that we were taught while going through our voice and movement. Because he would give us scripts and just see like, how does it feel to walk like this? How would your character walk like that? What would they sound like? And on top of that, he would, when we came into class, there would just be a grid of these 9 spaces, and he would be like, all right, you know they're here. You know what they are. I've written them down. Just while walking, think about it in the back of your head. Don't make any specific intention to do that, but just have that in the back of your head. And it just tweaks so minutely sometimes. Just the experience of how you're performing, which I thought is so fascinating. And he was saying that he learned it from an actual production that based it off of this idea.
Wow.
Oh, and there we go. It leads to it. They did it in a levels situation where the stage was slanted, and the idea was all the characters are trying to reach the top, but they have to pass through all these emotions to get to the top. And the top one, which is one of the emotions I forgot, which was peace. So they're all reaching peace, but they have to go through all of these different layers.
Yeah.
And very fascinating to me. It was super interesting. I always have Navarasa in the back of my mind when I'm in a theater now.
Yeah.
Just because I'm like, this character always stands there, and they're always angry. Why?
Oh, this spot on the place's anger is kind of the feeling.
Yeah.
Do you think that walking into this room does this room embody a
Chaos? Chaos.
the other one he forgot? Chaos.
That's not it, but sure. I mainly think about it when I'm on a theater, but like the sort of ideology extends, off it.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to take a side tangent to just,
No, I really like that.
highlight that.
I don't really think I've heard you talk to.
Yeah, I don't think that's what I said. I don't. You might have mentioned it, but I don't think we knew what that
If
meant.
you did, we forgot.
I
We're
don't
sorry.
know. I don't know. It's not flashy or anything, but it's
Yeah.
like something that I really took to heart.
Yeah.
After that, we went to. We're not at Modern yet. After Shakespeare, I did Commedia dell'arte, which was my first public performance. Once again, I was in a class of 2, so I actually got plugged into upperclassmen and joined their public show.
Okay.
And that was, oh man, I think it was my first. I think that was the first one you guys got to
That's
see.
that's the first time we got to see you.
So parents.
Which one was this one?
It's the one where it was Arlecchino.
Oh.
So Commedia dell'arte, when I say that, it's not the most recognizable, whether it's Greek or Shakespeare. Commedia dell'arte is the original slapstick comedy. It is the core of it. It is where all the roots come from, because they actually had, while traveling, you are a traveling troupe. You are assigned a mask, a name, and you keep that throughout your entire life. So you would take a mantle and you would be that until you die, like in real life.
It's very physical.
It's super physical. It's if you think of Looney Tunes, it stems from that. It's
Three Stooges.
Three Stooges. So physical, fake slaps, very, very archetypal, like over the top characters. They all stand funny. I had 2 classes where we discussed exclusively on how each archetype stands.
Whoa.
Which was so interesting.
It reminded me a lot of Cirque du Soleil in that there was expressiveness in just body motion.
Yeah. And if you see, it didn't matter which Commedia dell'arte show you put on. It's all the same because it uses the same exact characters, just in a variety of situations. Mm. So that's how it's this like long running thing where it's like, oh, I'm going to write a Commedia dell'arte, and I already have the characters figured out. I just wanted to see what situations I put them in.
It's like a continuous fanfic.
Yeah.
A bunch of people are just continuing the story.
It's true, and it's very fascinating, because the only time that you would change a mask is if you get too old. Because sometimes you are a Colombina or an Arlecchino, and you're a young servant. Well, now you're no longer a young servant, so you have to go to a Dottore or a Capitano, which is a more older character that's established.
Right.
But you learn these characters, and they spend their lives mastering them, which I thought was so interesting. They spend their lives perfecting their character.
Yeah.
And my teacher actually went to Italy. And they all have these signature masks that tell the audience who they are before they even say or do anything. And she got to make one.
Whoa.
Which I thought was so cool. But that was a very fun performance. I actually got a little bit of an injury during that one.
But I think it was a time when we saw you were just. It had been a drudgery, the going back and forth, and that was really the first time where we saw you have just extreme joy in doing that.
Yeah, it was the first time you got to peer into the room.
He's really good at acting, so it looked like he was having pure joy.
But no, that was very fun. After that, we got into, I believe it was Classic American. Ooh, was it Classic American? I don't know.
What counts as Classic American?
Cat on a Hot Tin Roof, isn't that the one you guys did, or... No,
I didn't do that. It sort of mingled.
Cat on a Cold Tin Roof.
To be honest, it all mingles a little bit. We did a modern one, which was a very local play that I don't even ever think got produced, which was Unicorn Hunting at the 2019 Regional Emmy Awards, Mid-Atlantic Emmy Awards.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Where it was a very melancholic relationship sort of drama. I played like a basically toxic partner that kind of is inferred that definitely some domestic abuse.
Yeah, that was a rough one. That was when I'm like, nothing is happy ever again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a fun one because the aunt of the girl who was playing my partner at the time came to me after the show and she went, I thought you were gonna hit her. And I went, I would never.
Well, we were taken aback because we were like, we're gonna have to talk to Nick afterwards. What is he doing there?
It was a different. I think it was a different side of acting, and I think it really showed your range.
Because I remember you saying that the director kept going.
More.
Yeah.
That was probably the one that I had to get pushed the most for, because it was not me at all.
No.
Yeah. After that, we did Becky Shaw.
Oh yeah.
Which I did not like Becky Shaw.
Another super happy one.
Yeah, that one wasn't thrilling. Just a quick rundown. It was just no one's happy in their current relationship, and people think that they like someone, and it's overarching. It's just about like secrets and not telling the truth, and a little bit of manipulation on the top with a very unsatisfactory ending.
And on top of that, you guys are wearing masks.
Still wearing masks. It's true.
There was like scenes that would have had more meaning if they were contacting or whatever.
The most jarring one about that is the director. He was trying his best, but we were still in the rough requirement to be social distancing, and that play is riddled with intimate closeness scenes. and he just told us to read out the scene directions.
Oh.
Where it would be I would be like looking at my wife, and she would go, and they kiss, and I would reply, it was a good kiss.
Yeah, it was. I understood why they did it, because
Yeah.
otherwise there was no way to know that as the audience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's no way you can have one overarching voice saying
No,
all this stuff.
I actually think that you guys should have gone mwah, 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 from across the room to each
But you
other.
couldn't see that. They had masks
Yeah,
on.
that's what I'm saying. That's why they had to just mwah, 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 like under the mask.
That was a really tough performance. I had to like, not from an acting standpoint, but just of like, man, I don't like this script.
Yeah.
That was my least favorite script. And unfortunately, I was a little too vocal about that. We have like a review stage at the end of every class where the faculty has like one-on-ones being like, oh, so here's what you should improve on. He was definitely like, you gotta like not do that. He's like, I get that you don't like the play, but like you can't do that in any other situation. I'm like, I know, that's why I'm doing it now.
Let me complain about this now.
I'm like, I'm getting it out because like I gotta verbalize that like this is not good.
This sucks.
If I was making money on this, I would be quiet.
Yeah, but I'm paying you guys. But no, that wasn't my ideal. And then I think after that it was my creme de la creme, my peak, which was
The immersive?
the last days of Judas Iscariot.
Oh, right. Sorry.
That was my fourth semester project, my very last one. My favorite script.
The play that cemented for us that this is what you were meant to do.
Whoa.
It was. I mean, we left that play in tears
Yeah.
because of your performance.
I had a lot of people come up to me after that show being like, you made me cry. And I was like, dang, that's deep.
It was number one, everyone did great on there. And we knew all the people there too.
Yeah.
Which made it even more impactful because we were like, oh, we know, so-and-so, we know so-and-so. And it was just, oh, you did the Glizzy silent movie with this guy, but not yet. But yeah. But yeah, it was just crazy that we knew these people, and that show was just so many characters.
Yeah.
And so
It was the biggest cast we'd worked with. We brought in alums to do it, as well as faculty. We got to use 2 different spaces that we transitioned through near the end of the play. We had lighting, we had a lot of props, everyone was doing costume changes. It felt like this was the culmination of everything that I'd worked for. And it was my very last show for the 4-year standard certificate.
yeah.
Which I love it. I will cherish it for a while, that sort of whole experience. But then after that, there is an advanced course, which it's not theater. It's all about film and self-production is the intention of it. And it's a whole different environment. We got to do a whole, a mass amount of very particular and more advanced shows and whatnot. I had an immersive show that they were talking about, which was like a fairy tale themed one.
I think that one really opened my eyes to like theater and being like, wait, this is like a genre that can happen.
Yeah.
Like I didn't even know what an immersive show was before that.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, that's really interesting.
And then now you see these bar shows that do this all over the place.
Yeah, I think the most common one that people are familiar with are like the Murder Dinner, sort of like interactive show. Basically that. No dinner though. We gave cookies. And then we did a devised piece, which is so fascinating. I had no idea what a devised piece was. But when I'm looking around for auditions and stuff, devised piece is a very common thing.
Oh, really?
Yeah, basically what devised is, to my understanding, is you create the show as it goes in rehearsal, and then when it's time to put it up, you just show what you've cultivated.
He doesn't like I'm rotating the glass.
No, I can hear it on the microphone.
You can hear it on the microphone?
I can hear it from where I am.
Okay.
How much did you have to drink?
Anyways, there was so many cool things that you did during that.
Yeah.
We talked about the silent film.
We did silent film. There was a whole filming portion. Silent film's a 1-minute film. The really exciting thing is I got to participate in 2 48-hour film festivals on top of that, which is just you're given a prompt, a character, and a genre on a Friday night, and you are supposed to write, film, record, edit, and put it up on by Sunday afternoon and submit it. And DC as a whole, there's a whole 48-hour film community puts it up.
And we were coming up every 6 weeks to see a new performance, which was pretty darn cool.
Yeah, that is all to say. Yeah, that's basically it. I did some side stuff. I did a comedy. I did a children's show that we actually got to do in a actual DC theater, which was really exciting. Actually,
that one was a lot of fun. I really liked that one.
Arg.
Yeah, I played a pirate. Man, the school was a whirlwind. I did all that in 2 years, and I sort of came out revolving door, being like, "What happened in there?" You know,
Yeah.
sort of. But actually, like laying it out, it was nonstop, but also just such a blast. And I've learned so much that I still, even today, I'm like, yeah, I know that, and I'm like, why do I know that? you
Yeah.
know, like,
Which class was that?
yeah, it's like, I know what you're talking about, and I understand that I technically learned that, but I'm like, I don't think about that.
I think a lot of times when you're learning quickly, because like when I went to nuclear power school, it was 6 months going from basic arithmetic to nuclear engineering.
Yeah.
You get done with it, you're like, what the heck just happened?
Yeah.
And I think it's the same way for you because you were going every day, 5 days a week.
Yeah.
And then 6 months later, you would say something and we'd go, oh, now we get what you were saying there. Because it just kind of pops up in your mind that that's what it was.
Yeah.
Were you graded? Do they have grades?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
Well, technically, because they're an accredited school, so they do have grades.
Okay.
But it's basically attendance is the biggest one,
right.
and then everything else.
Okay.
Because it's very free form. Because like, how are you going to grade? It's like, yeah, you didn't do a good performance.
He's going to be
like,
a terrible actor.
But like, for an accreditation standpoint, like they're there and they're doing the job, and like that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I think. I just remember you talking about the stand-up comedian, which is, I think, the worst thing you ever did.
Yeah, stand-up comedy not fun when you're doing it in an empty room, but that's that's the whole thing. But we're rolling to the end. Very long-winded. I definitely talked way too much this episode.
This was awesome.
I need to not. Next episode, I'm just gonna be in the corner. I'll be behind the camera.
Hey Nick, what are you doing over there?
All right, so we tasted 3 very different things.
Yes.
Do you want me to go first?
Yeah, do it. You like were
Sorry,
you were teeing this up.
Yeah.
You teed it up and then you went.
No, then I
You
went
were like, oh, give it that.
Yeah.
Yo, you try it.
I liked all of them in very different ways, but I think I like the third one the best.
Oh, the dessert.
dessert.
The about face.
About face. Yeah, I think so. About face is probably my favorite.
Probably a surprise to no one. Like I said before, I'm not a huge fan of red. I like the whites; they're nice. But yeah, the dessert wine I think was nice. It was light. It was sweet. It's good. You could just drink that anytime. It doesn't even need to be after dinner.
I think I'm going to choose the white wine, the Petite Mensing. I really, really like that. So smooth. I could imagine eating it with drinking it with such a variety of foods.
Yeah.
I really liked it.
No, I thought it was good. I did like it too because it was just a little bit below a Chardonnay for me. So I did like it also.
It had a lot of layers and a lot of unique aspects to it.
Yeah. Well, with that, we're gonna about face out of this room.
And before you sign off,
Yeah.
this whole thing, I like to do a call to action.
Yeah.
If you are interested in anything I said, just try it, right? Learn about it. Like, acting is such a magical experience. You don't have to do it full time. Heck, I'm not even doing it full time. But like, if you just get into the space and are able to end up in a creative environment with really creative people, you're just blown away by the work you can create.
Yeah.
So I would invite you to do something creative. It doesn't have to be acting.
I play drums.
Play drums, write a painting, do a sip and paint.
Write a painting.
Do a sip and paint. Write a poem.
And be kind to yourself. We're all learning, and it's okay to be bad at something, especially when you're learning what that thing is.
Yes.
Dear goodness, that car outside was so loud.
And you may hear frogs in the back.
And you may hear frogs. Well, thank you all so much for watching. We'll catch you next time. See you soon. Bye.